more raw Ramblers lined up, along with some Putter Sky Highs. Got a rack full of gloss clear Ramblers. Looks like black 14mm dropout CCRs. And then trans brown Ramblers. Got a small portion of the batch going into the oven now. Couple minutes, they'll take them out, and then they'll be ready to go. So the oven is set at 400 degrees, and they'll be in there for 35 minutes for a full bake. One batch goes in. One batch comes out. Look at that. Red Ramblers coming at you.
All right, Murph, what do we got going on here?
Looks like we got a truckload of Nate Ramblers showing up. Ball's unloading right now.
Tell me about these colors. I see some new ones up there.
Got a couple new ones. We got gloss clear, Crandall red, and then the root beer from before and blue groove from before. All Nathan Rambler.
So Crandall's got his own signature colorway of the Rambler frame.
The Crambler.
The Cran Apple.
The Cran Apple.
The Cran Apple.
You didn't think we'd do it.
Who, Crandall did it?
No, you told Mike that we would never do it. So
Well, we did it.
we proved him wrong. Cran Apple.
Is that what we're calling it? Cran Apple?
Cran Apple. I like Crambler.
Crandler. Crandall red.
Crandall red.
All right. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Murph.
What do we got going on over here?
Well, the Mad Dog frame's finally happening. Didn't happen in 2020, so can't name it after a cheap, sugary booze, but it is an election year, so, you know, at least we're getting it done. We're making American bikes again. Traditional S-bend chainstays, bullet tips, disc mount, a little bit longer dropout than most, just for a little more adjustability. On the original Mad Dog frame that I did back in 2020, we were putting chainstay brakes on it in addition to a disc, so we had dropped the chainstay down on the bottom bracket. Now I got rid of the U-brake mounts, so this is centered on the bottom bracket. It's a way cleaner look. And the chainstay is parallel with the axle slot this way, instead of the axle slot being like this, which, or no, I guess it was like, yeah, whatever it was ugly. So I love the way that bike rides, but it's pretty ugly. Now here's the big change. This is the seat stay sub-assembly drawing. Does that look familiar to anybody? It's basically a Challenger, which is my favorite S&M frame of all time. So why not? Why not do it again? It's got the mono stay. single bend, actually double bend. We still have the double bend, so that's different than a Challenger. We have the double bend seat stays. So when the stay comes into the dropout on the seat stay, see it's got that second bend, can you see that?
Yeah.
It's kind of subtle, but it looks really clean, and the main reason why we did that, so when you put the disc mount on the dropout, it runs parallel to the seat stay. If we didn't do that second bend, it would be, you know, that's exaggerated, but it'd be a little bit more like that. So this allows the dropout. Oh, and then here's so if we lay it out, you know, the mono stay is going to be basically like that. So, boom. Challenger, modern Challenger.
Modern.
So that's where we are right now with the sub-assembly pieces. But let's go take a look at the front triangle.
All right.
All right, so we're over here at the front triangle cacking fixture with the Mad Dog front triangle. A little bit taller head tube. So I got a 5-inch head tube, so I don't have to run the stack washers. Now I can just drop my credence stem right down on the headset and put my bars. I have the 925 bars, and now my bars are right where I want them, and I don't have to use any stack washers. And it also makes the taller standover on this frame, which is up there in the, we're looking at like 10-inch standover, so it's pretty tall. I don't think we have any 20-inch frames that are that tall.
I don't think we do.
So it's probably our tallest frame.
Yeah.
So the bigger head tube looks way more proportioned with the taller standover. So it's just kind of like a grown-up's 20-inch bike. It's a kid's bike for grown-ups, basically. And I like to run my seat pretty high. And then when I like pedal around town, I like to run it really high. So originally when we did the 2020 version, we did the 27.2 seat tube because the only quick release clamps we could get were 30 mil. Now I have a 28.6 quick release clamp that's going to come with every frame. So you'll be able to quick release, but still use a regular 25.4 post. You don't have to get the race size post.
Yeah.
Plus we're using a butted seat tube. We're using a different top tube that's lighter, and I'm trying to get this frame under 5 pounds. So, you know, by comparison, a CCR, which I was riding before this, is about 5 1/4. I'm trying to get this under 5 pounds. So it's a bigger frame, but it's going to be lighter, so it's kind of more, almost raceable, which is what I like, because I want to race again, but I don't really want to have to keep switching around all the time. So maybe you can go to 2 local races or whatever on your Mad Dog, and then if you're going to get real serious and go to nationals or whatever, you can get a Speedwagon. And really,
Steel Panther.
Huh?
Steel Panther.
I mean, yeah. We'll cut that out. Steel Panther. So the other thing so we've got roll mark made in USA here. I did a bigger shield. Basically, I did the black bike engraving on the head tube, but we blew it up by 25%. Because we have a taller head tube, we don't have gyro mounts, so I was able to wrap it around further and also get taller with it. This is the old black bike head tube. I always like that shield engraving. It's pretty straightforward, clean. So the Mad Dog head tube is taller, 5-inch head tube. So we made the shield 25% bigger because we could. This first one we messed up a little bit. See how the diagonal line runs through the M? So we changed the program up a little bit, reran it, This one looks really good. And now we're doing one final sample with the machining just a little bit deeper. So it's like the biggest shield we've ever engraved in a head shield. It's a clean shield, it looks really cool. The gusset's got the Sharpie shield on it, and then on the non-drive side or the left side, it's gonna have the plate just like the prototype with the shield in it, and it'll have the model name stamped into it as well. So that's kind of where we are with the front triangle. And this drawing, you get a good view of how much nicer the frame looks than the Mad Dog prototype that I'm riding now. The centered chainstay, parallel with the axle slot. This whole thing looks so clean. Where the other one was down here, the dropout was crazy, and it had this tensioner in it. And it was just, there was so much going on. It was just crazy. The bike rides great, but I couldn't get my head around just how much was going on in the back. And then here's that Challenger seat stay sub-assembly with the second bend. So it's gonna be disc only.
No other brakes.
Yeah, but honestly, I couldn't get the disc to work before. I didn't know much about them. I was trying to do a removable mount on the dropout. That was a bad idea. Now we have the permanent mount. I have the little 120 disc on there, and I finally figured out that you can adjust the lever out. I have the Shimano lever. I didn't know you could adjust it out. So at first, I was just hating it because it was smashing my knuckle, and then I realized you can adjust this thing. So now I've got it out with tons of clearance. I've got some kind of pads in there, organic pads or something that aren't real grabby with a little 120 rotor. They work so good. It's like, it's insane. I love it.
Game changer.
So, anyway, we're gonna have this thing wrapped up here in the next couple of days for what we think is gonna be the final prototype. 10-inch standover, basically the same geometry as the CCR, more or less, because that's what I've been riding for, I don't know, 8 years or something. I love that thing. But this one's taller, bigger head tube, and it's lighter, and it's disc only with a quick release seat clamp. So that's kind of where we are. So yeah, it's a good frame for guys that aren't super hard on their bikes. A 3/8 slot, so this isn't for the street thug. You know, this is more like your trail guy, pump track guy, occasional race track guy, like, you know, like somebody like myself. But stay tuned for the final product.
Coming soon.
Hey McGoo, is that the way they reamed him at Torker?
No, I'm the only guy that got reamed at Torker.
good view of how much nicer the frame looks than the Mad Dog prototype that I'm riding now.
I'm the only guy that got reamed at Torque.